is exactly the issue of what I'm talking about. As much as I agree with what's being said about this man and his organisation, right? We focus on fringe bigots rather than dealing with the real central issues. We have a political system. I can't count how many times I've read the Daily Mail or some other paper, not that I read these, right? And it says, Pakistani man does blah. When Jimmy Savile is convicted or something comes out about him, is his ethnicity or his religious belief put forward as the primary reason for him committing an offence? No. One second. For those who don't know, Baghdad was the intellectual, cultural centre of mathematics and art and science about 1,000 years ago for quite a long time. No one blames Islam for that. So negative people who happen to be Muslim, yes, of course, it's your religion.
You know, I'm just watching this video, and you know, these fucking people that are religious, you know, they've been trained well. They've been trained really well. Now, what I've got to say about it is going to come as a bit of a shock to Christians. Okay? He's going on about Baghdad being the centre of mathematics and, you know, all this stuff, right? Well, what did he do? Okay? Celtic society hasn't been going for, you know, I mean, these people think that it doesn't exist, okay? But Celtic society has been going, like, continuously for probably over 100,000 years. And everything in the Bible, except for Jesus, comes from Celtic science. Okay? And this, you know, Tommy, he has an issue about culture shock. Okay? Because the Celtic people, which are British, they have built England, right? And he acknowledges that because he notices this group of people that isn't a race, it's not an ethnicity, okay, coming into his into the country there and changing the culture. And I mean, objectivity dictates that just the presence of this new influence, it changes culture, just its presence. You know, my street here, right, if some people from the low socio-economic area moved in here, right, it would be noticed immediately, okay? And it's the same with Muslims, okay? And I believe that there should be a distinction between Muslims and Islamists, okay, because the black guy here, he's an Islamist, okay, because he is promoting this different culture and he's trying to sell it, basically, okay? And so there seems to be profound ignorance on all sides. I mean, on the flip side of the Muslim thing, yeah, there's been war going on in that part of the world for a long time, and I'm not surprised they want to get out. I mean, pretty much. I mean, if the Syrian army got word of ISIS hiding in a house down the road from you, you'd probably get bombed. Anywhere within like 50 metres is at risk of death from wherever these people are suspected of being, okay? So it's a great tragedy for a lot of these people that are probably just like me, just live in a house, you know, have a job, look after their family, you know, because I believe all over the world, everyone's the same like that. Everyone is the same. It's just that they have different religion. And my message today actually is about objectivity. Okay, it's about the existence of religion means that consciousness doesn't exist. Okay, and when actually there's nothing anyone can do about it, because it is our operating system. It is our operating system. So this is why the Muslims, their operating system, which is consciousness actually, not religion, are determined to make things better for themselves, because consciousness only wants to make things better. It's the only decision it has. Make things better. So in my Celtic, belief value system, that's why Europeans, we invented cars, and then we invented racing cars, and then we invented industry to support that, and then we thought we'd like to have a plane, and fly with a motorised aircraft. And so good old Richard Pearce down the road here in the South Island of New Zealand, he was the first person to bolt an engine on a airframe, not the Wright brothers. It was months and months, and probably because of the ego issue associated with the camouflage of religion, the US got word of that, and because the US absolutely is averse to a competitive peer, they thought that they would announce that they had, these Wright brothers, they did it, just to seem like they're better. Because at its core, religion is an anxiety disorder, because sociopaths always use bad news. They think bad news is good news. And that's why I say religious values, we have to get rid of religion. We have to ban religion, because actually religion is a bullshit rebranding, repackaging of Celtic values and Celtic science to do with the consciousness realm, to do with magnetic fields, to do with the ecosystem, and to do with the very first and foremost fact of it, of all political understanding, is that we are alive on planet Earth here on our giant spaceship, and we have next to us this big heater that keeps us warm. Everything else is fucking being a dickhead. Okay? And so yeah. Here's a question, okay, for Muslims to contend with, right? Why do Muslims wear headwear that mimics the Jewish kippah? And why do the Quran teach the same values towards women as the Talmud? Okay, and here's another question. Why would this religion spend 500 years murdering my ancestors so they could be in charge? Yeah. Another good question. When God is everywhere, right? I mean, this is what it says in the media of religion, right? When God is everywhere, and He knows every hair on your head, and He knows all your thoughts, and You know, he's you know, he knows you better than yourself, right? So when you're sitting there with a book reading about what he said, don't you think that's a bit rude? Because he's right there. You know, you can interact with him right now, here, right now, and but you choose to ignore him and read some book. And because you're reading a book, it's intellectualizing the information, and that's a big fail. It's an epic fail right there, right? And so I have a very, very distinctive dislike of religious people, especially these ones that are really adamant. They are fucking the fucking face of the earth, because the people that are the people in the US that are pro-war, they are pro-war because they are pro-wealth, okay? They want to be rich. Now they've got billions of dollars, and that doesn't matter a fuck. They still feel like they're drowning, so that makes them intellectually handicapped, okay? And they might as well be in a little room with an Xbox, and they can have a video game experience because that's what they're playing with the world, okay? They're not getting anything out of it. They can't take any of that wealth when they die. So what's up with that? You know, what is up with that? I'll tell you what is up with that. It's religious values have overwritten Celtic values, and religious values say it's okay. Religious values have ruined people because the inverted version of it, which is that's all that we have, because God doesn't exist, right? And Jesus is he's a literary character, okay? And so because these things actually don't exist, and that we actually have our consciousness operating system, which is what we really know as truth, okay? Yeah, we get the situation where consciousness is now people think money is consciousness, okay? And that extrapolates out to having power, okay, is more consciousness. And this is all justified because everyone even down to the lowest levels of society, all agree on these religious values, okay? Now, the reason they agree with them is because they're actually Celtic values, okay, which is actually not that dissimilar to how Maori configure their society. Maori have a very, very similar to Celtic outlook on what reality is, where they've got deities for forest, deity for the ocean. And I mean, the Celtic environment had similar things. They had similar references to these features in our in this world, in this realm, you know. So yeah, I think people who are religious, they have an anxiety issue, right? And you know, this is the truth of it, okay? And the sooner we get rid of religion and go back to Celtic values, the better, because I tell you a secret, that actually nobody cares about religion. The first fucking call every time is anxiety. Anxiety is the deity of the human race, and the whole reason we function as a community in the Western world is because we actually still use Celtic values, and that's how we measure everything. It's like they say New Zealand's egalitarian society. Wrong. That's a fucking bullshit political word that's instigated by religion. We still retain Celtic sensibilities, okay? And, you know, it's like Christmas actually is the harvest festival, which is a Celtic thing, and the Chinese are just about to do their New Year's festival, and that actually has very similar aspects to the harvest festival. an acknowledgement of the consciousness environment, and so yeah, there you go. There you fucking go.